Um, Picture this. It's 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. You've been working for 6 hours, but when someone asks what you accomplished, you genuinely can't remember. Your browser has 14 tabs open, your phone buzzed 37 times, and that important project? Still sitting there, untouched. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. The average knowledge worker checks email every 6 minutes and switches between applications over 300 times per day. We've become masters of looking busy while achieving nothing meaningful. But what if I told you there's a way to reclaim your mental clarity and produce work that actually matters? Today, we're diving deep into the art of focused work, a skill so rare in our distracted world that it's become a superpower. Here's the uncomfortable truth. We're living in an attention economy, and you're the product being sold. Every app, every notification, every ping is designed by teams of neuroscientists and behavioral economists whose job is to capture and monetize your focus. The result? We've trained our brains to crave distraction. Research from Dr. Gloria Mark at UC Irvine shows that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully refocus after an interruption. Think about that. Every time you glance at your phone or check that Slack message, you're not just losing those few seconds. You're losing nearly half an hour of deep cognitive capacity. This isn't just about productivity. This is about the quality of your thinking, the depth of your relationships, and ultimately, the satisfaction you get from your work and life. Deep work, a term coined by computer science professor Cal Newport, is the ability to focus without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks. It's the state where you produce your best work, solve complex problems, and create something valuable. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in a task. Hours felt like minutes. Your phone didn't exist. And when you finally looked up, you had created something you were genuinely proud of. That was deep work. The opposite, what Newport calls shallow work, includes all those busy work activities, answering emails, attending status meetings, posting on social media. These tasks create the illusion of productivity while keeping you trapped in mediocrity. Here's what makes deep work so powerful. It's not just about getting more done. It's about getting better at hard things. When you can sustain attention on cognitively demanding activities, you literally rewire your brain to handle complexity and nuance that shallow work simply can't touch. Your brain wasn't designed for the modern world. For millions of years, our ancestors' survival depended on constantly scanning for threats and opportunities. That restless, always alert mind that helped our ancestors avoid predators now makes us check Instagram every few minutes. But here's the fascinating part. Your brain is remarkably plastic. Every time you resist a distraction and return your attention to demanding work, you're strengthening what neuroscientists call your cognitive control network. It's like building a muscle. The more you exercise focused attention, the stronger it becomes. Dr. Gazzaley's research at UCSF shows that people who regularly practice sustained attention literally develop different brain structures. Their prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for executive control, becomes more efficient at filtering out irrelevant information and maintaining focus on what matters. This isn't just theory. When you commit to deep work, you're not just changing what you do, you're changing who you are at a neurological level. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your willpower ever will. If your phone is within arm's reach, you'll check it. If your workspace is cluttered with distractions, you'll be distracted. It's that simple. Create what I call a cathedral of focus. This doesn't mean you need a fancy office. It means being intentional about every element in your workspace. Remove visual clutter, silence notifications, and establish clear boundaries between your deep workspace and the rest of your life. One technique that works remarkably well is the phone funeral. When you sit down for deep work, literally put your phone in another room, or better yet, in a drawer with a note that says, "See you in 90 minutes." This sounds extreme until you try it, then it becomes liberating. Most people think focus is about willpower, but that's only half the story. Your attention is a finite resource that gets depleted throughout the day. Just like a muscle, it needs rest to perform at its peak. This is where most productivity advice gets it wrong. They tell you to optimize every moment, but research from Dr. Rachel Kaplan shows that certain types of rest actually restore your cognitive capacity. Spending time in nature, engaging in light physical activity, or practicing meditation doesn't just feel good. It literally recharges your ability to focus. I recommend the restoration ratio. For every 90 minutes of deep work, take 15 minutes of genuine rest. Not scrolling social media, not checking email, actual restoration. Walk outside, practice deep breathing, or simply sit quietly and let your mind wander. Elite athletes don't just show up and perform, they have pre-game rituals that prepare their minds and bodies for peak performance. Deep work requires the same intentionality. Develop what I call a focus protocol. This might include 5 minutes of meditation, writing down your 3 most important objectives for the session, or doing a brief breathing exercise. The specific activities matter less than the consistency. You're training your brain to recognize that it's time to shift into deep work mode. One powerful technique is attention residue clearing. Before diving into focused work, spend 2 minutes writing down everything else on your mind. Incomplete tasks, worries, random thoughts. This mental dump frees your cognitive resources to fully engage with the task at hand. Here's a counterintuitive truth. You can't focus on demand. Your brain has natural rhythms of alertness and fatigue, and fighting against these rhythms is like swimming upstream. Most people experience peak cognitive performance in the late morning, roughly 2 to 4 hours after waking up. This is when your cortisol levels are optimal, your willpower is strongest, and your ability to resist distractions is at its peak. Schedule your most cognitively demanding work during these golden hours. Use your afternoon energy dips for routine tasks like email, administrative work, or meetings. By aligning your most important work with your natural energy patterns, you'll accomplish more with less effort. Let's address the elephant in the room. What about meetings, urgent emails, and the constant demands of modern work? The first step is recognizing that not all work requires deep focus. Administrative tasks, routine emails, and collaborative projects can be batched into specific time blocks. The key is being intentional about when you engage in shallow work versus when you preserve time for deep work. For those inevitable interruptions, develop what I call transition protocols. If someone needs your immediate attention during deep work time, acknowledge the interruption but request a specific delay. I can address this at 3 p.m. Is that acceptable? Most urgent matters can wait an hour or 2, and this boundary setting teaches others to respect your focused time. Remember, every time you immediately respond to a non-emergency interruption, you're training people to expect instant availability. By setting clear boundaries, you're not just protecting your own focus, you're modeling healthy work habits for others. Here's what happens when you consistently practice deep work. Your capacity for sustained attention grows exponentially. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become manageable. Complex problems that used to frustrate you become engaging puzzles to solve. More importantly, you start producing work that stands out. In a world where most people are drowning in shallow work, the ability to think deeply and create something meaningful becomes incredibly valuable. This isn't just about career advancement, though that often follows. It's about the deep satisfaction that comes from using your cognitive abilities to their fullest potential. It's about ending your workday knowing you created something that matters. Starting tomorrow, I want you to commit to just 1 hour of deep work. Choose your most cognitively demanding task. Eliminate all distractions, and see what happens when you give it your complete attention. Don't try to transform your entire schedule overnight. Like any skill, deep work requires gradual development. Start with 1 focused hour, then gradually extend these sessions as your attention span strengthens. Track your progress not just in productivity, but in satisfaction. Notice how different it feels to complete something meaningful versus just staying busy. That feeling of accomplishment and growth, that's what we're ultimately after. The future belongs to those who can focus deeply in a distracted world. The question isn't whether you have time for deep work, it's whether you can afford not to develop this crucial skill. What will you create when you finally give your mind the space to do what it does best?